Welcome to this video. Yeah, this is a book review. Again, I haven't done one for some time, but it's really high time that I do a book review on the book I'm going to talk about right now, because I got this book recently and it's truly one of the most entertaining and fascinating opening books probably that I ever read. So, or let's say, to read an opening book, it's a bit difficult to say, but to a book that I browsed through and took a look at to see what ideas it's going to offer. And this book is about the opening which we see right now on the board, about the Morra Gambit in the Sicilian defense. Sometimes it's also called the Smith Morra due to American player Ken Smith, who I think played it in the 70s mostly, with quite some success, but he had a very bad tournament with it where he lost to 3 grandmasters in a row, and after that, it didn't exactly help to give this opening a great reputation. Yeah, until we come to one point about the Morra Gambit. It's not an opening that enjoys a particularly great reputation. Very often the attitude of strong players is that black simply grabs this gambit pawn like here, and it's more or less an extra pawn for nothing, which is very often what good players think. I must say that I belong to that category as well. At least I did belong before I got this book. I always thought that this opening is more or less incorrect, so that it might give some fishy compensation, sort of, but it's not really a serious opening. But looking at this book, I must say that I changed my mind about this, and I think this opening is really a very interesting field for study, and this book can provide really an amazing amount of interesting attacking ideas, especially if you're looking for an aggressive weapon against a Sicilian, but you don't want to really learn all the main lines of the open Sicilian, or you don't think that you find some sharp weapon within the anti-Sicilians, which it's not easy. If you look for an sort of anti-Sicilian which is really aggressive, then you have a hard time, because those openings are mostly very non-confrontational, but the Morra is obviously very aggressive. You sacrifice a pawn for quick development. But let's get to this book again, and a few words about the author. The author is an American international master, Marc Esserman. He's rated about 2-4-50. He's in his late 20s and has played the Morra Gambit for most of his chess life, I would say. He's got game examples which are easily from 10 years back, when he was just out of his junior years, and he played it as a kid also. It's in the book. This book is about 350 pages thick, so it's not a very lightweight kind of book. It's got lots of content, and especially absolutely amazing amount of new and interesting ideas in those very complicated positions. What I'd like to do is to give you some impressions about the kind of lines that are suggested. So I don't want to give everything away what's in the book, but just to give you some idea what kind of things might happen. I'll also present you one complete game, and this is the game where you already see the names here, Esserman against Luke von Wely from 2011. But I'll go quickly through the chapters here. One very popular way of playing against the Morra is the sort of the line that is often called the Siberian Trap. We can look at this here. The idea of this setup for black is to play this move and trying to play knight d4, so h3 knight d4, and black wins instantly, as this is a checkmate.
Checkmate.
Yeah, but this is still played. I mean, I played it myself as a kid. I remember I was fascinated by this trap and tried to win games with this, but he's got a very interesting antidote, and this is knight b5, queen b8, and e5. Very aggressive, sacrificing yet another pawn. And yeah, what should black do? He's taking it here in this game, just to show what happens. Yeah, and now we already see that white has a very strong attack in the works with bishop f4, possibilities of checking on c7. It's very dangerous for black, and in fact he's got a sample game here where he wins very quickly. Say knight d5. It's just a couple of more moves. Bishop g5, so that a check on c7 and d6 is very close to being made, and you've got rook c1 coming up. So white's got a very strong attack. I don't want to analyze this, really. Just want to show what kind of fun position you sometimes get with this opening. Now white has got everything developed. It's very cute here on the 5th rank. Yeah, I need to change the color here of my marks. All right, now it's green. So very fun position. And yeah, rook takes c8 is the threat, and queen d7 checkmate. And yeah, black tried this.
Check.
But now he resigned because yeah, it's just terrible what's happening here. Let's say,
check.
For example, this.
Check.
And
check. Checkmate.
With a very, very cute checkmate in the end. Yeah, just a quick example of this Siberian Trap. Can go back to the starting point. Yeah, he's got 2 chapters on the Scheveningen setups, which look like this. Pawns on d6 and e6. This is a rather strategical branch of the Morra. White doesn't have many quick wins coming in this line, but he still seems to retain some long-term compensation. I must say that I was really inspired by this book, and I try to play the Morra a bit myself. If you watch my channel regularly, you'll see that I played a couple of Morra Gambit games recently, mostly in Blitz and, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 rapid games. And I also got this once in a while, but it really seems like white has adequate compensation. Yeah, there's one branch here in the book which really left me completely stunned. This is this setup. And this chapter is aptly called Into the Deep. Yeah, and yeah, the amazing thing is that white in this position just castles, and after b4 should black play b4, which obviously, yeah, is the materialistic but also very principal move. Then he actually suggests to play knight d5. He not only suggests it, he played it himself against pretty strong oppositions like international masters. And it's very hard to believe at first that this should be yeah, adequate compensation for the piece. But he offers a very detailed and very inspired analysis of this. And it seems that even with the computer check, it seems to lead to a really interesting position where white has, yeah, very good compensation. It can look like this. In fact, this knight d5 sacrifice is not at all uncommon in the Sicilian. So it's maybe not such a big shock that it's that this case also it might be working. but still you're pretty much amazed that this is possible. It's in fact not a sacrifice which immediately earns you any material gains in the near future or any direct mating attack. Very often it's a rather positional sacrifice where black's bishop is a problem. White sometimes just takes this pawn and then tries to get a knight on c6, or just increase the pressure so much that black really tumbles down. I don't want to show a complete game, but I try to actually analyze this a bit myself, because I had a hard time believing this. But just as he mentioned in the text here, the computers obviously have problems appreciating this kind of sacrifice, but very often after a couple of moves they show that white indeed has compensation. It's still pretty amazing. And I must say that the book is absolutely loaded with beautiful attacking games and analysis. It's simply a joy to read, because you have so many great attacking games. Even if you don't play 1e4, simply for the pure fun of it, it's simply a great book. It's also written in a very, very funny style, with lots of quotes and movie references. If you're a movie fan, then you'll see lots of fun stuff in there. What else is there? There's the Chicago Defense. It's quite interesting. You learn something new every day. I didn't even know this kind of stuff existed. The Chicago Defense looks something like this, where black quickly gets a rook on d7 to cover the pawn. I must admit that this looks a tad unnatural to me, but okay, it's obviously something that is played. The general kind of idea that he offers is like this, and then push the f-pawn. I mean, you can simply count tempo here. White is fully developed and black's got all its pieces on the back rank. It's still relatively close, this position. Let's say it's not apparent that white would mate in the next 5 moves or so, but he certainly has ideas to open up the position. So this is another defense where he suggests a very aggressive approach. Then what else is there? We got the dragon setup, which really surprised me. I mean, I didn't know anything about this opening, I must say, and I was surprised that the dragon in the dragon setup, let's say something like this, that this setup really has some serious problems against the Morra. I thought, well, what the heck, black might be able to play this, why not? But this kind of stuff is already very annoying. So this move order might even be a problem for black. It's possible that if black wants to go for a dragon kind of setup, that he possibly needs to go along these lines, where he offers the interesting move and pretty amazing e5. Of course, this is just hanging, but there's these ideas coming up. And this leads to a compensation, a position with white having compensation for the pawn. The dragon doesn't really seems to be a huge problem. Then there's a very big chapter devoted. Oops. All right, no, it was a bit too much. Devoted to this setup, which he calls the professional's choice. The choice of professionals, knight g to e7. And I don't want to go into this too deeply, because this was played in this game that I'm going to show you, Esserman against Wely. There's also the Tailor Defense in there. The Tailor Defense is something like this, with the idea of actually developing this bishop if possible. So if white would waste the tempo with h3, then black can simply play e6 and has won a tempo compared to Scheveningen lines. At least this is possible. Yeah, he's got bishop f4 as the idea against this. Yeah, this is actually a quite important defense. It's often given in books, but it still seems to lead to fun attacking positions. In general, I must say that if you intend to look at this opening and play it, you shouldn't be the kind of player who's counting his pawns in every position. You really need to, yeah, get going and be willing to sacrifice material, even pieces in the opening. It's maybe sometimes a bit of a gamble, but you always need to take into account that very often you simply have the initiative. The good thing about this gambit in general, I must say, is okay, it sacrifices a pawn, but you don't really make any concessions in a positional kind of way, in a strategical kind of way. The only slight problem with the missing c-pawn is that the d4 square and at some time the d3 square might be weak. This is very abstract at the moment, but it can be a factor. If you look, just for example, if you look at the main line here of the Scheveningen setup, you see that this knight d4 might be an idea. If black manages, for instance, to exchange this knight, then he's got knight d4 coming. This is the only positional drawback of this opening. The only other drawback is, well, yeah, you're pawn down for this very quick development and yeah, very smooth start of the game where you get all your pieces out quickly, but you don't really concede anything in a strategical way. Let's just compare this to another gambit. Let's just compare it to the King's Gambit, for instance. If you look at the King's Gambit, white has made a huge concession from a positional point of view, as his king is really weak. It will stay weak the whole game, even after castles, as this pawn, as long as it exists, will threaten white's king in a way, and you have problems developing this bishop, especially if you consider that black might play g5 at some point, then you cannot really develop freely. So it's an entirely different kind of gambit, where white really risks more by weakening himself than by sacrificing a pawn. Here it's not just a pawn, it's really a positional risk that you get yourself into, which is not the case with the Morra. Here you simply have a nice development, and my brief experience, I'm only playing this for like a couple of weeks here. My brief experience also shows that quite often you have so much activity that even if you play something which is not 100% correct maybe, or not the best kind of moves, you often have enough activity to compensate that, and even can play on. If you are not really winning with the direct attack, you still don't suffer from some long-term strategical problem. So, for instance, in one correspondence game, I butchered up the move order. I simply failed to look at this book. To be honest, I just played a couple of moves and learned afterwards that I made a mistake already. And then I had to play on with the pawn down, but I had so much activity that I still could draw the end game with the pawn down, simply because you have those one or two extra tempi that give you enough activity to draw the game. So it's not so terribly risky in this aspect. Okay, yeah, there's Tailor's Defense. What else is there? Yeah, the Fine Gold Defense is also in there. So there's basically all kinds of setups that are usually suggested are covered. There's this less important defense that it's not in the book. Somehow the editors didn't get it in there, but this is covered already on the Quality Chess Co.uk website as a PDF supplement. It's not very important line, but it's on there. From a repertoire point of view, you also of course need to take into account that black is not obliged to take the pawn, and thankfully he devotes about 100 pages to the Morra declined, and this is mostly the move knight f6 and d3, where black doesn't take the pawn. Well, d3 is actually the move that I played myself as black when I faced the Morra, because I simply never bothered to learn the acceptance of this gambit. I played the Morra accepted once with black and lost against a 2200 player. And after that, I simply always played d3. But this kind of position, is just a sort of Marozzi bind where white is slightly better in some way. So it's not a big deal. Knight f6 though here just transposes to the c3 Sicilian, and he offers quite some lines with this variation. It's not the only line that black can play. Black can also play earlier e6 and so on, but this is a Gambit style line that he analyzes, so it very much fits in the general flavor of the book to recommend some interesting attacking line against knight f6. There are also some versions of the declined which are interesting, like this. And the fun thing is, if you look at this, if black insists on not taking the pawn, which he sometimes does, then he will get problems with the quick queen b3. I wasn't really aware of this idea, and black really has some problems. Of course, he can transpose into this dragon thing that I mentioned before, but if he tries to stay without the area or out of the area of the Morra accepted, then he probably will get some problems. It's very nice, and I can only recommend this book. I have no serious criticism. It's simply a very entertaining and inspirational book, because it contains so many great attacking chess, that even if you think, okay, you always play knight f3 and g3 and stuff like that, simply a person like me, I also don't play 1e4 in tournament games, then you would simply enjoy the great attacking ideas in there. To give you some more concrete idea what might happen if you play the Morra, I'll show this game Esserman against Wely, and I hope you don't know it, because it's really really great to look at, and you might already have the suspicion that it ends in a white win, and you're right. I don't want to make any suspense into this. So Esserman really beat Luke van Wely, who has been rated close to 2,700 for a decade or even longer. So a really great upset that he managed to play here. So let's see what happens. Van Wely plays the knight g7 defense, and Esserman plays bishop g5, and this is really a key move that he recommends here. He thinks that anything else really isn't enough to trouble black. The idea of knight g7 is just to get the knight to g6 and sort of control e5, and of course bishop g5 prevents this and provokes some kind of reaction from black. Van Wely now played f6, to which white just dropped the bishop back, and now knight to g6. So black has a very good control of e5. White cannot play e4, e5 in the near future. And now he played bishop to b3, and this has a very aggressive idea, which we see very soon. Van Wely now played b5, probably not expecting anything bad to happen. But here white has an absolutely amazing move. I mean, if you have got some experience in the Sicilian, then you might think about this move, but it's still very amazing that it is working. White now played knight to d5. Again, the sacrifice that I showed some time before in another line, but here it is also working. And yeah, black needs to take it basically. White is threatening bishop b6. He could play some move like rook b8, or let's say 95. A move like rook b8 to cover the b6 square. But still, if white just plays a strengthening move, what to do after that? It's difficult to tolerate this knight. So Van Wely just grabbed this piece. E takes d5, knight to e5, and now the key move d6. This is really the idea of the sacrifice. This move opens up this diagonal, and black's king stays in the center. And it's very difficult to remove this pawn. Black cannot go here because of the bishop. This looks fun. So it's really difficult to get at this pawn, and as long as this pawn is there and this bishop is there, how do you get the king out of the middle? It's very difficult, and in fact black has a really hard time to find any defense here. So Van Wely really walked into a sort of minefield here. This was prepared by Esserman, but just the amazing thing is black hasn't made any really obvious mistakes, but it really can get very hairy for black quickly. Okay, bishop b7 he played, and now white took on e5. The intention, of course, is to open the position. He played f takes e5. Now, if black would take with the knight, then white simply increases the pressure on the e-file, and simply black plays without those pieces. He cannot get the king out of the middle. And what should black do here? Could try this, attacking the pawn. But simply this move protects everything. And you've got f4 coming, you've got this coming. It's terrible. This attack will lead to a mate in the very near future. So this is why I took with the f-pawn. And now, of course, no time to hesitate. You need to open it up. f4. Busting open the f-file so that the rook also joins the attack. Yeah, Van Wely now played queen to f6. Here he had a better defense. Probably, yeah, the very risky looking move takes is better. But okay, the thing is, very often in those Gambit openings where you get some attack, it's simply super difficult to defend those positions because you're under so much pressure as black that you're bound to make some mistakes simply. A computer might be able to defend lots of positions, but a human player, it's very, very difficult. Okay, he played queen to f6, and now Esserman took on e5. Black needs to recapture, not much choice. And now we've got yeah, the next really hammer blow coming at black. It's bishop g5 with double exclamation mark again. Yeah, it's a very simple idea. Checkmate. But of course all kinds of stuff is hanging. So we need to check the captures, what is happening. What would happen if black takes on g5? Yeah, that's actually the fun move, queen e1 check. king d8. If black goes bishop e7, then there's this move coming.
Check. Check.
Nice, isn't it?
Checkmate.
And it's checkmate. So after queen e1,
check.
You need to look at king to d8. But of course,
check.
I've got this also.
Checkmate.
And this is checkmate. And this obviously
Checkmate.
Also very nice, the queen taking the square away. So great, simply a great way to to win a game. What else is there? Black also could give a check, but white can simply answer with rook f2. It's basically the same line with black taking on g5. So black cannot take this, but also there's the simple threat rook e1, and as mentioned, the mate threat also. So what Van Wely played, bishop e7, is really the only move to to make it somewhat more difficult for black. For white, obviously, bishop f7 check. Yeah, he needs to go to d8. And now white can simply capture on e7. Yeah, and now we see a position where where white, after queen d2, has sacrificed one little pawn, and he's got such a devastating position. I mean, there's this idea: rook e1 on e7, rook d1 to get on d7. It's simply an amazing attacking position. Yes, you can imagine. Black didn't survive this, but it still has some very nice points. Knight c6, rook d1, simply getting on d7. And black defended with queen f5. And here white has a direct winning sequence, which Esserman found. Bishop to f4. The idea is that queen d6, c7 is deadly. So he took the piece, queen d6 and king d8. And first glance you might think, okay, maybe black can survive this, but there's the next sacrifice coming. Rook takes c6, bishop c6 and queen c6. Yeah, and here Van Wely resigned, as black simply has no defense at all. Let's say rook c8, the only move that you can think of at the moment. And then you've got this coming, winning the queen, mate, everything at once. Yeah, okay, this is checkmate.
Checkmate.
This also. So you cannot go rook g8, and what should black play? It's queen f4 is also mate. So it's mate everywhere. So a fantastic attacking game that Esserman here pulled off against Van Wely. I can only recommend to look at this a little bit more, especially this kind of position after. Oops, I'm sorry. It's a bit too quick here. This kind of position with the pawn on d6 and this bishop. This is really something you need to learn to appreciate, that this is really a very strong compensation, because black cannot move his pieces to meaningful squares. He cannot get the king out of the middle. So I think for a strong player it's pretty clear that this is at least very dangerous. Hard to tell if it's winning or something, but you would immediately see, okay, it's getting really hairy. But this is still something very difficult to appreciate if you're in this position, that knight d5 is really so strong. So great effort here by Esserman. Yeah, as for this book, I can simply say, get it. I have no idea why you shouldn't, really, even if you don't play 1e4. It's just great entertainment and inspiration for attacking chess. Thanks for watching this video, And if you've got suggestions for other book reviews, then feel free to use the comment function here on YouTube. I will do some more book reviews in the near future, and there will also be some book reviews that are not on openings. But I must say that some opening books really are a little bit more than just about openings, as it is the case here. It's really also a great book about, romantic attacking chess in a way. Esserman is really a fan of the romantic attacking players, and it really shows in this book, on every page. Thanks for watching.